What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Meathead podcast. I'm your host, Ron Harris. With me, as always, is Big Mike Cox. Today, he's going by Tom Terwilliger. 10 points for any of you under the age of 40 who have any idea who the hell that is. And our special guest this week, all the way from, I think you're in Florida now, right?
Florida now, yeah.
Okay. This is Fakhri Mubarak. And if you don't know, now you know. He was a pretty damn good pro. He won the middleweight class at the 2005 USA. Light heavyweight. Heavyweight was some guy named Phil Heath.
Yeah, I know him by 1 point, but hey, who matters?
He didn't do much after that show, Phil Heath.
Only Olympians.
But Fak has gone on to become a great prep coach. As you can see there in the banner, 119 pro cards. So no offense to someone who calls himself he's a good friend of mine, Hani, the pro creator, but 119 pro cards. I should have been your 120th, but I never contacted you. 26 pro wins. So, guys, we're here to talk about this Prague Pro coming up this weekend. Normally, the post-Olympia shows, they're kind of exciting, but this one is very, very exciting because we have Samson Dauda, who just went from winning the Olympia last year, dropped down to fourth place with 20 to 25 less pounds than he had at the previous year's Olympia. And supposedly now he's all the way back up to 300 pounds, and he is going for redemption at this show. Obviously, he's already qualified for the Olympia for life. He's a Mr. Olympia champ. I think it's a $30,000 prize. It's not, it's not crap money, but still, for the Olympia, a guy that had just won $600,000 at last year's Olympia, he's doing this not for the money. It's a point of pride. In fact, were you surprised when you heard Samson was doing this particular show?
No, I think he had to. I think it was either this one or coming back to do the Arnold. I mean, he might even do the Arnold, but I think dropping down to fourth, he had to redeem himself really quick.
Yeah. So tell me what you thought did you watch? I don't know if you were there or if you watched the pay-per-view, or what were your thoughts when you saw Samson come out this year?
I'll be honest, and I've spoke about this on social media. As soon as he walked out, right away I saw muscle loss. People were saying that he was flat. Of course, when you lose muscle, you get flat too. But it could have been a combination of a lot of things, right? I mean, we as bodybuilders know that 1 or 2 days or even a couple of hours can make a big difference in the physique. But as soon as he came out, I knew right away something was wrong.
Yeah, we're looking left to right. 2024 versus 2025. This is courtesy of Mark's Max Muscles channel. He does all the comparisons. Mike, you and I were watching this, live as it happened. I know we were hoping the best, both of us, for Samson, but what was your initial reaction when you saw him walk out this year?
I said, yikes. The front relaxed pose round when he walked out was still beautiful. Yeah. The smaller weight, the lower body weight made the waist even smaller, so that was good. But once he started posing, it wasn't that same Samson. And it's not just being flat. Like, that's muscle loss. Yeah. We've all dieted and over dieted, and it's muscle loss. And I'm sure combined with maybe a diuretic too, just the whole combination of everything just snowballed, right? It wasn't his best look, but that's the last look we have of him, right? So when we see this weekend, is going to be totally different than what we saw on stage. So the fan, it's going to be kind of a shock factor for us, right? So good on him. I kind of wish he would have kept it under wraps and not shown anything. That way, when he walked on stage, it would have been a big surprise. But it's the social media era that we got to do that. So it is what it is.
So, Fak, as a coach, I want your take on this. Him and his coach, who happens to be his wife as well, Marlena, they maintained that it was just a matter of not carving up enough. They didn't give him enough time to fill out. I think it was actual muscle loss. I think he overdieted and lost actual tissue. The difference very well when you look at people. Look at that. Look at the difference in the back there.
Huge.
So is this, in your eyes, Fak, as a coach who's coached thousands of athletes, is this being flat or is this muscle loss?
No, as I mentioned earlier, as soon as I saw him walk out, it was just muscle loss. I mean, we know the differences. When you have this much experience, you could tell the difference between muscle loss and being flat. I mean, so let's look back at what he won, right? He beat a Derek and a Hadi that was off, and he was somewhat on, but he wasn't as shredded as everybody said Mr. Olympia should be. So now you have a mindset of coming into 2025 oh man, I need to be shredded. I need to be harder. You know, so that leads to muscle loss because you're no longer playing to your positives, which is being the bigger structured man on that stage. Now you're thinking about, I need to come in shredded because I lost to Derek at the Arnold and he was harder than I was.
Yeah.
You know, and it was muscle loss. I mean, it's not carb. It's not taking in a carb load because it looks different. Like when people know what they're looking at, it's a much different thing between muscle loss and not enough carbs. He's a big man, so yeah, he needs a lot of carbs, but it was still what was he, 20 pounds less on stage this year?
It was 20 or 25.
Yeah. So I mean, how much carb can you take? That day and a half put on 25 pounds.
It's a lot of sweet potatoes. So
potatoes and like IV glycogen or something.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Go ahead, Mike. I mean, yeah, the back shots are where I really noticed it. The legs in the back are where I saw the arms were a little deflated too, but he really lost it. The back, it looked like he lost all the progress he made in his back over the last couple of years.
And you're not going to get that back in 2 weeks, right? That's not going to come back in 2 weeks, right?
I don't know.
It's just a lot to run. It's just he deflated. His game is being big. He's a big ass dude. Yeah. You got to come in like a big ass dude, right? You're competing against guys that are a little bit small, and you get Derek's detailed how he's detailed. But when judges said you don't have to be that super shredded, you got to just nail that condition just right because he won the Olympia and he wasn't dug out, right? So it's just finding that right combination. It's crazy the amount of muscle he lost for this show, dude. But like, even he said on the interview that he was getting leaner and leaner, and you just kept going and going and going because you're seeing like what you haven't saw before. But I think you need more than one set of eyes to kind of be there to tell you. You do need somebody that's going to say, I think you need someone in your corner that's just blunt. Like none of this, oh, you look great. Like I said before, I had a guy that told me, you're fat. This is what he told me this 6 weeks out. He goes, you're fat. And I'm crushed. I'm killing it. So I didn't get mad or pissed. I did more cardio, ate more tuna, right? You got to need somebody in the corner that's totally honest with you. And damn, that was pretty impressive right there.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming they are honest, but it's just the wrong look, Ron. They know what they messed up on, but if they can bring that on stage, that's nasty.
Yeah, these are the most recent. This was posted yesterday.
Good Lord.
So according to him, this last one here, he put 300 pounds there in the corner. So he's back up. He was back up to 300 pounds within, I don't know, like 8 days after the show, something like that. Fact, is it possible to regain significant lost tissue in that window of time?
Well, when we say lost tissue, we don't mean lost tissue as it disappearing, right? We're saying lost tissue as it, training, maybe overtraining, over dieting. We don't, we have our muscle receptors and our muscle tissue response is there, especially his. He's still young, he's still growing. So it's not lost muscle tissue per se. It's more of a combination of over dieting, not filling out the muscle, making the muscles look smaller. It's not a decrease of the actual muscle tissue itself. So can he load that up? Well, he did. I mean, look at him right there, right? So can he load that up for him to be back to, if he says he's 300, he says he's 300, right?
Yeah.
But, it's possible because, again, you didn't lose muscle. Your muscle tissues are there. Your satellite muscle cells are still there, right? You're just filling back up and bringing them back out.
So the lighting here is obviously, we call it the goon lighting. The lighting in your gym or whatever is always a little more forgiving, a little more flattering than what you're going to find on the stage. The magic mirror. So I don't know what this condition is going to look like on stage.
Exactly, right.
To me, it looks like he's holding a fuck ton of water here, which you would expect for someone who's, I'm sure he's been pounding the food like a mother since the Olympia. I just wonder what the condition is going to look like. I'm not doubting him. He's still Mr. Olympia champion. He's an Arnold Classic champ. He should be able to win this unless he's like way off. That's the only way I see someone like Martin or Keone beating him. He's going to have to be off. I just wonder, what do you guys think about that?
what's the fascination with the weight though? Like it's always the 300 pounds, 300 pounds, 300 pounds. Like what's the? It does. Lee Librato's like 190 pounds and almost beat Lee Haney. You know what I mean? Lee Librato's a little dude. So the weight, it's not about the weight, it's what it looks like on stage. And the problem is, Ron, Keone looks huge on stage, but we don't know what's going to look like against this beast. But I think it's just showing these pictures, we're going to expect this and a little drier. And always showing this in the goon light isn't the stage light. You know, always leads to somewhat of disappointment for all these guys. Because this is what I want to see. You showed me this 3 weeks ago. This was something you looked like last night. Where is it today? So I think we got to just slow down with the progress pictures in the perfect light, because even downsides right now, I got a light right there. It's like 9 o'clock in the morning. I look like freaking Mr. Olympia still, right? So we all have that perfect lighting. So it's impressive, yes, but you got to bring this to the stage, bro.
So my last question about him, because I do think he's fully capable of winning this, is I didn't see any improvement in condition. Maybe a smidge. His waist did come in a little bit. I'll give him that. But I didn't see for 20 to 25 pounds lighter, I expected him to be diced out of his mind, and we didn't see that. Did either of you guys, Fak, I'll start with you. Did you notice better condition this time than when he won a year before?
No. So I've been in this situation a couple of times, right? In 2005, I was coming in as a heavyweight for the USAs. You know, we mentioned Phil Heath had won the junior nationals, and you know he signed a WEDA contract and everything. So it was in my best interest to drop to a light heavyweight, right? So I was like 222 pounds about a month and a half out. You know, I was already in shape. You know, I saw a couple of judges and said, "You're in shape, you look good," and blah blah blah. But in my mind, I said, "Listen, we've been following bodybuilding for a long time, and you know, politics and you know, covers of magazines and blah 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 blah." So I had to drop down to a light heavyweight class. I got perfect scores. Everybody says I was peeled, but I was nowhere my conditioning of where I was at 220 pounds. So a drop of weight doesn't necessarily make you look better. You know, you could look flatter, you could look smaller. You know, of course your waist is smaller because you drop weight, but the rest of your body is not as big, and your cuts and your insertions are not as deep. My insertions were a lot deeper. Same thing happened in 2009. When I did the 202 Neo Pro, I should have done the Open. I was like 220 something again, a month and a half out. You know, so like I understand what happened to him because it's happened to me as well. You know, but no, he looked better, bigger, and harder last year.
Yeah. So I mean that begs the question, Mike. I'll give this one to you. Should he even bother trying to get much leaner? Because it doesn't seem like it. He's not going to get any leaner. I don't know if it's a thick skin issue. I don't know what the deal is, but he just looks bigger. He looks better, bigger. So why not just be that 300-pound guy, 305-pound guy?
Listen, Samson, Samson just does him. He's never going to be super diced, super shredded, super dry. He's not going to have that Derek-like insertion in the glutes and hams. He's not going to have the Munzer-like striations in the quads. That's just not his game. In this pose right here, I swear to God, on the left round, he looks like Chris Cormier.
Yeah.
Doesn't he?
Yeah.
That looks like Chris. And so be big, be hard. Listen, on any given day, 4 guys could walk away with that title, right? Yeah. Samson, Andrew, Hadi, Derek. So we're going to be rotating. So listen, man, just come in big because you know what? Andrew's going to be big, right? So don't come in small. Be big. Battle the 2 behemoths like Godzilla and Mothra, right? Just see those 2 guys battling it out. You know what I mean? Because you got 2 little guys and 2 big guys. Yeah. So play to your strengths. And listen, I think some of these guys are influenced by social media and the comments and, oh, his stomach isn't hanging out a little bit. He's 300 pounds, right? Yeah. It's not going to be super flat waisted, but for a 300-pound man, Ron, that's a hell of a stomach. But you can't listen to social media and people not liking your pictures. And I think that gets in their head a little bit. It has to, but it's just don't pay attention to that. Just block that shit out, turn the phone off, and you be you.
Yeah. So I think it's very safe to say he's the favorite for this show. He should be, for God's sake. But at the same time, this guy here, Martin Fitzwater, 4th place 2 years in a row at the Olympia. He's the defending EVLS Prague Pro champion. it would be such a feather in his cap if he could somehow manage to win this and beat Samson Dauda. I don't know if it's possible, only if Samson's off, I think, honestly. But we'll start with you, Fak. What do you think Martin's chances are?
If anybody could lose if they're off. I always, I feel bad, and I apologize to Martin on this podcast that I always cut him short about what I think his places are going to be. He proved me wrong again at the Olympia. I'm not doubting him. I'm not doubting this young man. I mean, he keeps getting better and better and better. Could he win? I don't know. I mean, I have Keone in front of him right now. So it's gonna be, to me, it's gonna be a 3-man race. It's in between, of course, Samson is favorite. Gun to my head, I'm gonna say Samson, but I have Samson, Keone, and Martin. All possible winners.
Yeah, Mike. Do you think any one of those 3 guys? Do you think so? Capable of walking away with this?
I mean, Gunther beat Ronnie, right? It's possible.
True.
But Samson is just he's a very beautiful big guy, right? Martin's got a crazy physique and he's shredded, but that's a tall order. But we're in an era around where anyone can win. Like, just because on paper it looks a certain way doesn't mean it's going to end up that way, right? This isn't like back in the day where we can predict the top 5 no matter who's in the show. It would be hard for Martin to beat Samson because he is so big and so round. But if Samson doesn't nail it, because he's been playing with that condition. So, Samson's been off a little bit, so anything can happen. Martin could sneak in there and win, or Keone could. Like, it's really a 3-man show, and a bigger Keone too. That's going to be a pretty sight as well.
Let's talk about Keone. I want to take one last. I just want to give Martin his props because I think I've been not dismissive of him. I just forget about him sometimes. I don't know why, but he's damn good. He doesn't really have any weak points to speak of. Very, very.
And that really stands out, right? There's no kind of crazy quad or super big arm. He's complete all around.
Yeah. Like you said, you mentioned Cormier when you're talking about Cormier's somebody like you remember. What was Chris Cormier's best body part? You can't think of it, right?
It was everything.
Because everything was great. And that's Martin. I guess the quads are probably one thing that would be a standout for him if you're going to point to anything. But yeah, man, he's just very complete. So
he's hard too.
He does. So Keone, though. Keone, obviously, everyone's excited because 212 guys have been doing very well when they move into open, as we know. Hadi Choopan, Derek Lunsford both came to us from 212. And Keone has better genetics, I think, than either one of them by a long shot. A few people have gone on record, industry experts, saying this is the greatest physique in the world right now. And at the Olympia, he struggled for the first time to get down to 212, I should say. It was the first time he had to really make a concerted effort to get down. He was only 201 a year ago, and this time he was like 211.9. Giles said his coach, Patrick Tour, claims he was hanging around. He was 217 right up until a couple days before the show, and he was ready, bang on ready at 220. So we'll probably see him closer to 220 here. 220-pound Keone Pearson, even if Samson's on, even if Martin's on, does he have a chance of winning this thing?
Yeah, of course. I mean, look at, we just mentioned Derek and Hadi. I think it was 2000. You would know the date, Ron. What was the show that Hadi did against Flex Lewis? And everybody said Hadi had it.
Shit, that was the Korean Grand Prix. I want to say 2000. It was way back, like 2015 or no, I think it was 2018. It was the year before Flex retired, I think.
Yeah. So in that show, I came out in defense of Flex Lewis, and I said that Flex Lewis is the second best bodybuilder in the world behind Phil Heath, and everybody laughed at me. Well, not everybody, but you have your people. Oh, he's the 212. He's the 212. He's the 212. Well, guess what? Now we have two 212 champion bodybuilders, Miss Olympians, Hadi and Derek. I mean, look at Keone. I mean, look. What are we looking at? If you could replay, if you have a chance to get the video from last year's Olympia when he won, when he was doing the posing behind the white curtains,
yeah,
the way he looked was ridiculous. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's not. You know me, Ron, for a long time. Like I'm not in wow of people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So when I say that's like a perfect physique, that's as good as it gets.
Yeah, he actually had that on his Instagram, so I can find it. But I agree. I mean, Mike, you look at this guy and you look at the weak point. You can look all day for weak points on this. Where are you going to find him?
You kind of look at that and you look at that and just shake your head because you don't. He's like a unicorn. You don't see that very often. Like Flex Wheeler had that. He had it like that kind of where you just were like, oh shit. Keone has, I think, the best physique in bodybuilding. Period. Yeah. And he's still getting better. That's the crazy thing is he's a kid. Like he's still a kid. He hasn't even figured it out yet, right? He's at that age where everything feels great. Your joints are awesome. Your metabolism is phenomenal. Your sleep's great. You know what I mean? You're just an animal. Like you feel like you stop a bus. And he's living lifestyle. I was trying to do that, but I was in the club too much. But he's dead on focus, and that's what you need to be the best in the world and have that physique and have that kind of focus. If Flex Wheeler had that kind of focus, could you imagine what we would have saw if he was as focused as Keone and just did it 24/7? But it's just something that we haven't seen before. And it's going to be fun watching him evolve and seeing how many Olympia titles he gets eventually, because that's just amazing. But it's just we put a lot of pressure on this kid, right? Like we want him to have like 6 Sandals right now, and he's not going to win every show. He's got to learn his body as he gets bigger and gets older. So it's going to be a work in progress. But you can't. I think one bad showing doesn't turn the world on Keone, right? Because everybody has a bad showing, people bounce back. But he's got the world at his feet, man. He's like Scarface. The world is yours. You know what I mean?
Scarface. Yeah, but so going back, Fak, what we said, Hadi and Derek were both shorter guys. I don't think Keone's. What do you guys think? He's like 5'5", somewhere around there.
Yeah, he bought 5'5".
Okay, so
I'm 5'5", so he's a little bit taller than I am.
Okay, so I mean, Hadi and Derek are right around that same height too.
Yeah,
and they've beaten Samson. So it's not inconceivable that this guy does he need more? He'll be a little fuller than that. Does he need more mass than this to be able to beat someone like a Samson, someone like a Martin, or is he good right now?
Not if they said he was. If he was ready at 220, So if he was ready at going back to what we talked about earlier, if he was ready at 220 and he had to make weight to drop down to 211, that means what we're watching right now at 211 wasn't his best. His best was at 220. So can you imagine what he looked like at 220? They're saying that was his best. I mean, as far as being short, smaller, bro, Momo beat Dorian.
Yeah.
Lila Brada, we have so many short champions, and Derek and Hadi. I mean, it's bodybuilding. It's not being as big as possible. It's being the best symmetrical shaped, bodybuilder and conditioning on stage.
Yeah, I mean, Lee Priest beat Ronnie several times earlier on.
Yeah, a lot. Lee Priest beat a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, Ronnie almost retired because Lee Priest beat him. I remember him saying that.
And being vertically challenged myself, I kind of root for the shorter guys just to see. Okay, listen, when you see these short guys in person, it's crazy impressive. So when I saw Derek's he's like my height maybe, but just seeing that kind of muscle on that kind of frame is very impressive. And to see that kind of muscle on a short guy like this, when that kind of insertion and shape is just so impressive, man. But height don't mean jack, dude. Like it doesn't even matter. Like I said, Momo beat Dorian, and Momo was like maybe 5'3". So and I think a lot of taller guys get kind of a little pissy when a little shorter guy whips their ass too. You know what I mean? Kind of root for that. Little spud web.
Yeah. You know what? Also, Ron, if you look, we go back to look at that video you were playing. He's not as hard as he was last year, Keone. It looks like he did again. Have to drop some weight to make the 212. So he lost fullness, and by losing fullness, you lose deep insertions and deep cuts. So if he was ready at 220, he's gonna look nasty.
Well, see, this was that guest posing a couple, probably about 3-4 months ago at this point, where everyone lost their minds, and this is probably more representative of what we're going to see, just a more conditioned version. This is with all the size and the fullness before he had to drop down and try to get to the weight to win the 212. So, I mean, that to me, this looks big enough. I don't think he needs to be any bigger than this because he's got such round muscle bellies and such incredible shape. Yeah, I think he's good to go.
and he's just going to get the longer he trains, the more that muscle maturity is going to come on. And once that muscle maturity comes on, dude, that kid's going to be unstoppable, right? Was he like 30? He's 30 years old.
Yeah,
31.
And he's not done growing. He's obviously he just put on what 12 pounds of muscle, 10 or 12 pounds of muscle over the last year at least. Let's say if he was ready at 217, that means he put on over 15 pounds of muscle since last year.
Yeah. That's just insane. They pull the reins off this kid and kind of just unleashed him. So it'll be kind of like watching Derek go from his 212 to open because, I think what's going to be great, I think that Pittsburgh guest posing, if you kind of think it in advance now, of all the people that'll be there, seeing him at a real off season, I think that's going to like break the internet like Derek broke the internet.
Yeah, I mean, look what Derek did. He won the 212 Olympia, guest posed at Pittsburgh, and then he finished second in Olympia. It's the same.
Yeah.
It's possible because if you're having issues getting down to a certain weight, that doesn't make because you're smaller doesn't make you better at all.
No.
That's a fact. Another thing about Keone is remember the density is still growing on him. The density is getting harder and deeper on him. So like let's say he doesn't put on another 20 more pounds, he gets to 240. At 220, 225, with more density in the physique, it's gonna look like alien-like,
Yeah.
That looks nutty, man. Like when you see stuff like this, you can watch it over and over because you can kind of appreciate the posing and the shape. Like I love watching the freaks, but seeing a guy that can kind of move like this, it kind of gets like old school bodybuilding. They put some effort into the posing. There's some focus on it, right? It's just not just getting out there and doing like a Tony Labert and hitting 7 poses, right? Like that just looks dumb. Like I would go to Walmart like that, bro, just to see people's reactions to that shit.
I think I've seen that in Walmart before, but I think he's going to keep getting bigger. He's able to pull a vacuum and everything still. How much bigger? I know we're really getting speculative here, but how much bigger can he still get and keep those proportions? I mean, Hadi and Derek got a lot bigger, and they didn't get blown out midsections. So I don't necessarily see that happening with him either. I just hope for the best because I'd love to see this guy as an open Mr. Olympia within a couple of years, winning.
Derek got big though, Ron. Like remember, if you look at pictures from Derek from a couple of years ago, he got real big. The waist is a little bit bigger. It's going to happen, but I don't know. Like it's just you got to see him next to those open guys. Just see him even at 220, 225 next to Samson and Martin because it'll be a contrasting physique with Martin, right? Mm-hmm. Martin's really big, hard, freaky dense. To Keone's kind of prettier. Well, we don't know yet. We don't know what that 220 is going to look like, but we can kind of speculate what they'll look like. So it's going to be interesting to see how that shapes up. That he'll be in the first call out for sure. So it'll be kind of cool to see obviously the first call out.
If he's not in the first call out, I mean, something's wrong with the universe. Put it that way. We do. Oh, here's the video of that. This was crazy, and this was probably still around 217 before he had to drop those last few pounds of water to make the weight. But wow, insane. So there is one wild card. He's more of a local guy. Slovakia, I think, that's like Rhode Island and Connecticut. They're pretty close together to Czech Republic. Krizo, who just won the British Grand Prix, very impressive guy. I think, along with Nick Walker, probably the best arms in bodybuilding. I did notice a couple things about him that I've really never paid as much attention to before. His obliques, I think you say obliques. His obliques are very, very, they're too developed in my opinion. They're overdeveloped. They're like hanging over his trunks. We'll go to his Instagram in a minute and show you what I mean, but I don't know how or why that happened, but that's his actual waist isn't that wide. The hips and everything, the bones, it's the obliques that he built up. I hope he was, and here, see that? The rear double, the reason is back shots, he can't externally rotate his shoulders. That's a shoulder mobility issue right there.
Oh, that looked painful.
Any of you guys who've had rotator cuff issues, probably 90% of the people watching this, you know that when your rotator's jacked up or injured, you can't rotate your arms back in back of you like that to hit a proper rear double bicep. So the biceps are sort of tilted forward in the shoulders, when they should both be like more back toward the crowd. Let's go to his. I want to give him props though, because in this age where we don't see a ton of detail in shoulders and arms anymore, this guy has crazy striations and splinters all the way through his shoulders, his arms. There's nothing jimmied up. There's no injections in there as far as I can tell. But yeah, I don't see this guy I don't see Krizo in the running to win this, but if we're talking like top 4, I see him in the top 4.
Yeah, me too.
That's posing. If he can just hold the posing just for a second, he just can't hold his poses at all, man. I wish he can show them. That's a hell of a physique, but he just has to display it better because he just looks crazy. But he's a freak. I don't know if he's not going to win the show, but that's just something crazy to look at, though, Ron.
Yeah. Fact, what's your assessment of Krizo?
I think he's really good. I mean, I think he's one of the best bodybuilders in the world, top 15, top 10.
Yeah.
But there's a big distinction between tier 1 and tier 2. I mean, huge. It's not like, okay, we're all bodybuilders. I'm an IFBB Pro, but there was a big distinction between me and the top guys. So I think he's really good. I like his physique. I like his enjoyment of bodybuilding. It always looks like he's smiling and he's happy. He had enough heart and courage to come back from a surgery. He won the British show last week, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he won the show last week. So I mean, good physique. He's always in shape. He's always, he's huge arms. He needs to open up his back a little bit more. I know we talked about the rotator injury, but even with the rotator injury, like he's too like this. He needs to bring his shoulders forward, to open up. But yeah, I have him in my top 4.
Yeah. Yeah. See, the thing is with the shoulders the way they are, I don't know if he can do that. Yeah. Like I said, when your rotator cuffs are impinged, you literally can't get your arm back. Somebody could push and push. It doesn't move. It's like stuck. Or especially if you got like a bone spur in there, which some of us have or have had. But Krizo looks freaking fantastic. I wish him the best. And I've interviewed him a couple of times. Really humble, nice, down-to-earth guy. He's young too. I think the bald heads make us think people are older. He's only in his early 30s too.
And he competes quite a bit too, Ron. He's been competing since he came back from his injury. He's been competing quite a bit. So you got to give him props. He came over from Pittsburgh. Yeah. He's put it on the line, and he's always in shape. And he's very in person. This dude is ridiculous impressive. The arms are they're like if you put a bowling ball under his shoulder, just that freaking big. It just looks stupid.
Yeah. So Classic is in for a treat because Rough Diesel, who just won the show in Brazil on Sunday, he's on. I think he's already there. He's going to win this one. He is up against Michael DeBoule, who was I think he was 8th this year at the Olympia. But Rough Diesel, a very, very strong 3rd place. I was pulling for him to win. He's won the Arnold Classic before. He won the Pittsburgh Pro and the New York Pro this year. So he's on a roll. I don't see anybody in his way. But we talk about posing. In fact, you were just talking about like good posers. I think he's the best poser in the world right now, this guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely one of them. I mean, Keone's a good poser too, but Ruff is known for his posing since day one.
Yeah. Mike, I know you're a Rough Diesel fan.
Dude, that's my dude, man. Like but like the posing now is rather boring, honestly. But when I remember watching for the Olympia, I was exhausted. Remember, we were tired. But when he came out there, you perk up because it's going to be different. It's going to be kind of, Melvin Anthony, kind of Darren Charles, kind of all these guys rolled into one. And he puts effort into his craft, and it shows. And that's why the fans love him. And he's very transparent and like humble and down to earth on his videos. Like I don't watch a lot of guys YouTube now because I'm older and I don't want to watch guys eat anymore. But he's I just don't want to watch a dude put food in his mouth anymore. But he's just such a humble, normal guy, right? So you kind of root for him. And I personally thought he had the best physique. His physique to me is what classic physique is. Like to me, that's what. For me, it reminds me most of like Labrada and Fado, those guys. Classic is you see it when you see it, or when you see it. So it didn't work out, but he's super popular. I'm sure down in Brazil, he's just kind of like a godlike now, bro. But again, he's another guy that he competes all over the world, like nonstop. And they make folks, these guys, they make that look so effortless. Just I'm gonna just go to Brazil and I'm gonna bring my food and just fly 8 hours and just like it's nothing. So it's interesting to see kind of nowadays, even the grumpy old man. I like that part of social media. So props to him for being very open in his videos, and I'm actually pulling for this guy.
All right. Speaking of old men, I'm trying. I always end up being the oldest on the panel. Mike, I know you're 52. Fak, how old are you?
52.
I am. I'm still the oldest. Damn it. I gotta find somebody. Somebody's got to be older than me. All right. I don't get into the gossip, but this is kind of this is definitely a newsworthy story. The Masters Olympia was 10 and a half weeks ago, and Dorian Haywood and the rest of the people who competed there and earned prize money, they still don't have that prize money. So the promoter, I think the promoter said the main issue was the venue ended up charging them a lot more money than they had initially told them. So anyway, their expenses overran, and they can't afford to come up with prize money. But in fact, maybe you have more insight into this, because I was under the impression that when you want to promote a show, you have to you do a contract with the IFBB Pro League, and you pay the sanction fees for every division that you're going to have. And I thought, and correct me please, because this might be wrong, I thought they had to have the prize money for the athletes in an escrow account prior to the competition, so the prize money is guaranteed, that something like this would never happen. In fact, to the best of your knowledge, am I correct in that?
Yes. So I'm going to give you an example of when this happened the first time. I believe it was the first or second Masters. The one that not the Olympia, because we had Vince Taylor won a bunch of them, but the one that Dexter finished first, then Tony, then Dennis. I believe it was in Tampa.
I think it was Miami.
Maybe the 11.
It was Tampa. I'm thinking about the Tampa venue in my head because I was there. I was prepping Dennis James for that show.
Okay.
So that's exactly what happened. You know, the prize money wasn't given. But yeah, no, you're correct. You're supposed to have everything in escrow to make sure. I mean, if not, we all three of us could just say, "Hey, we want to, we're going to promote a show, and we want to give everybody $750,000." Yeah, right. So yeah, you have to have everything in escrow. Contracts have to be signed. I mean, it's happened before, and like I said, it happened at that Olympia, it might have been the Masters World Championships or something like that. But it was the one that Dexter won, Tony finished second, and Dennis finished third. And I know it was a master show. It was a female from Europe that was promoting that show.
Yeah, what was she had? You know what? She
Jarka,
had
like Jarka.
Jarka. I know because
what's her name?
Jarka, because she had a little private training gym in Miami. I know because I was there to cover nationals for MD, and while I was there, I made a side trip to there to shoot a video where I trained Jason Genova. This is a true story. I'm not making this up. So yeah, she was a very nice woman. She was hoping, she had a book, a photo book, like a coffee table book of bodybuilding photos. She was trying to sell enough copies of that to come up with the money to promote the show. Yes. And I don't think she was able to, I know as an author, I know that's a gamble, trust me, to count on money like that. So yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, but what do we do now? Because people are saying, well, Jake Wood owns the Olympia brand. He should just step up and pay the athletes and then get reimbursed by the promoter in Japan. I don't know if it's necessarily Jake's responsibility or not, but we'll go around. In fact, do you think Jake, we're not going to tell Jake what to do with his damn money, but what would you recommend if it was up to you?
So from my knowledge, the promoter in Japan has a lot of money.
Huh.
He is not starving for money. One of his businesses is, from what I know again, is he has most of the exclusive supplement brands going through his distribution in Japan. But he also has other businesses as well. From what I know, he has money.
Okay.
So I don't think he's starving for money. But then again, unfortunately, what happens to us as athletes, we're the ones that end up getting screwed because they're not getting the checks. But again, from what I know, from what I've heard, and from what I've asked, and I'm very inquisitive. I ask a lot of questions. I like to find out why. If I don't like the answer, I'll go to the next person. For what I've known, he does have money.
Okay. So, I mean, it's just maybe, I don't know. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. Maybe he figures, yeah, I've got money, but this needs to pay for itself. I'm not taking money away from other businesses to cover losses from this particular investment or business venture.
Right. So, I mean, Peter never pays Paul, but this isn't his. He had a sign. I believe he signed like a 3-show deal. So the pro show in Japan is his. He promoted it. The Masters Olympia, and there was another show. So it was a 3-show deal. So it wasn't like he had to just put up money for one show. It was a 3-show deal.
Okay. Yeah. So I don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully it gets resolved quickly.
Is there any legal discourse for the athlete? Can they do anything, or they're just kind of just screwed?
China? I mean, Japan?
Yeah. I mean, can the athletes like sue anybody for the money, or is just?
Yeah, I mean, legally they can if they have contracts. I mean, they're legal binding contracts.
I mean, that's my money, man. Like, it's not a lot of money, but that's not a cheap trip for anybody. Like, you can take 2 people for a week at a time, and that's a lot of money I'm out of pocket and dieting and expenses. So you just can't play with people's money. That's the one thing you cannot do, man. But you can't tell Jake what to do with his money, but this is not a good look for bodybuilding, right? This is 2025, dude. Like, people should be getting paid. Like, the football players get paid their deals. They get paid on time. They get paid their game checks, right? They don't miss game checks. So it's just not. You feel from it. That's a lot of money, or that's a big expense, a big sacrifice.
It's not the athlete's problem if you don't promote enough to sell seats. It's not a problem if you don't sell enough booth at your shows or your expos. We sign contracts to compete at the show, and there's prize money already pre-awarded to, and that's the reason why the athletes go into the shows. So I believe that, no matter what, the athletes should get paid. I mean, if it was me, I would take a loan. I would do something. I would take a line of credit on my business, because that's the ethical way of doing business and paying the athletes.
I'm glad you brought that up, Mike, because it slipped my mind that you're right. These people, they all paid their own way there. It's not like the Olympia, the Olympia weekend in Las Vegas, where I believe those athletes, they're all paid for as far as the flights and hotels. But I don't even know how much a flight. And they all brought someone with them too, a spouse or a coach or whatever. It has to be even the people that won. I mean, the biggest prize winner was Dorian Haywood, $20,000. So most of the people made significantly less than that, and the people that were supposed to be getting prize money, they're not even really.
No.
So they're out some serious dough right now.
That's a lot of money not to be missing, right? Remember Walter Martin? He was scrapping and scraping and be able to afford to go out there to pay for that trip. That's like a $10,000 trip. Yeah. Like, that's just, and a lot of those guys didn't make money, right? So even the guys that didn't make a lot of money in the whole expenses, just Jesus.
Yeah. So let's hope they do the right thing, the promoter, and take care of these athletes. Pay them what they're owed, because it's just not a good look. I mean, it's hard enough for athletes to make money as it is. Then when you make the money and you don't get it, come on.
Flying to Japan is not cheap. Staying in Japan is not cheap.
All right, so let's go through some comments before we leave. Let's see. Had top 2 between Ruff and Mike. Now, who did you have winning Fact, the Classic Olympia?
I'll be honest. So when they came out in the morning, I thought Dino was off. I didn't think he was on. I had him in 3rd place. I might have seen some bad pictures. I was on vacation in Punta Cana, so I had some drinks.
Wow.
But no, I thought Ramon was off. But then I started seeing pictures, and I was like, oh shit, Ramon is on. But I didn't think he was that on in the morning. Mike, I think they're telling Mike already to go into bodybuilding. That's basically what it is. I think he's more. I've always seen Mike as a bodybuilder. even though he presents, right there is that's a classical pose, and he looks good. But I think he's more of a bodybuilder, and I think Diesel's he's really good though. But when you get a really good big man competing against a really good shorter guy, the bigger guy wins.
Okay, all right. Let's go back to the comments. Phil's gonna make a video and cry. He's talking about Phil, old Harris. I am old. Ruff gets effed over because he's short. Bullshit. I don't know about that. He's not that much shorter because now that we know exactly how tall everybody really is, Mike he's a little bit over 5'8", I guess, and Ruff is
they're all so close to like all those three dudes. I don't think anybody gets screwed over because they're all so close to him. They're all competitive.
If you height Mike properly, he would have been third. He was heighted properly, and that's why he had to drop down a weight class, basically. He was 212 last year, and he was 204 this time.
Wow,
is that right? I think I'm right. If I'm off like by a millimeter or a millimeter, if I'm off by like a quarter pound, people are gonna have my head.
He lost a shit ton of muscle. Those shit ton of weight.
Let's see. How about putting the prize money side events? Yeah, Donald Pump. I was almost certain. I've always heard that they have to have an escrow account. Escrow is like real estate. It's an account that you can't touch that money. It's guaranteed money, right?
So what happens if they get a 3 contest deal? What happens with the other contests then? Apparently, I wouldn't let them promote it then. Apparently, right?
Oh, what's this? Jake Wood put out a video saying he's going to get them paid. Okay, good job. Good job, Jake. Perfect. All right. Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Jake's a savior, man. God bless Jake.
I hope that's accurate because the live chat is not always 100% accurate, guys. Sometimes people say things and I look them up later and I'm like, that wasn't even right. Like someone said, Clarita won the judging at the 212 just now. In your mind, maybe Mark, move your head a little bit, Mike. I don't want to cover your beautiful face. There you go. But I got that stupid logo that covers Mike every time.
Back in the shield here.
Keone won the judging and the finals. You could argue that Clarita looked better the first day, but the judges didn't have it that way.
They shouldn't even watch the show. They just watch see 3 pictures and go, "Oh, so and so won." They don't watch the show.
Yeah. Well, MFers penal. That's something I know in the old days. In fact, even when you were competing, you got fined if you pulled out of a show without a medical excuse, right?
Yeah. So I believe you needed a medical excuse from a medical doctor, and if for some reason I have a $5,000 fine in my head, but it might have been less than that.
Damn.
I know Lee Priest said he got fined several times, and I don't know if it was all for pulling out of shows, but I think he said he paid over $25,000 or $30,000 in fines throughout his career. That was Wayne. That was when Wayne DeMillia was running the show.
Yeah,
Wayne was a hard ass. Let's see. So happy for Ramon. He must be on top of. Dude, you saw that video where he went back to Brazil. Dude, I wish our athletes in the USA had the kind of love and support that these guys get when they go to places like Iran, Brazil. Those fans really appreciate the bodybuilders a lot more, their athletes more. I don't know. We're only that way with like football players and basketball and baseball players, hockey players. Yeah. Nobody cares about bodybuilding. The US. No. What else we got? Ramon was off. Come on, Fac. How dare you? Ramon was peeled.
No, I mean, he won. He won the show. But I just felt, like I said, I felt when I saw his pictures earlier, he was a little bit off. It was. I think he wasn't better than the Ramon who finished second to Chris.
Yeah. And
that's what I'm comparing the Ramon to. But no, he wasn't off. I mean, he won the show, obviously, right?
Let me see. Let me see what I got on Ramon. I know
he was a hero. He went home like a hero. Like he was just like people were mobbing him. Just they wanted selfies with that dude. It's insane.
Yeah, I mean, I still thought Mike was going to win it, to be honest with you. But you see here, his legs came down a lot.
Yeah.
That's where you see him because. Fact, I think they does anyone know the right number? Was it 14 pounds they lost in the last like 10 days?
That's a lot of weight, man.
Who's that?
That's Sommerfeld from Germany.
No, he lost 14 points in the last 7 days. 14 pounds?
Yeah, that's what I heard. It might have been 12. I know it was over 10.
It was over 10 pounds. Like 12 or 14 pounds, they said.
Yeah, I mean, that's telling him right there he needs to be in the open.
Right. I mean, if he really was 212 last year when he took second to Bumstead, and earlier this year when he won the Arnold, yeah, maybe he does just need to go to 212. I'd love to see him in the 212 division, but I'd also at the same time I don't want to see Classic keep losing guys.
Yeah.
There were 60 at the show round. They got plenty.
Well, I mean the top guys. I mean, let's be real. 60 guys in the Olympia. That's not the elite.
No.
The guys who placed in the top 10, top 15, you can make the case those are the best Classic guys in the world. If you placed, well, you can't say they placed 60th because everything after 15 is 16.
If you're in the 8.
Oh well, Mike, somebody wanted to see your shirt. Can you stand up a little bit?
Yes, sir. To Christmas story. I'm from the Griswolds.
Shitter was full.
Shitter's full.
The Griswolds, you got the wrong Christmas movie. Oh, if you get attacked by ninjas, do they still find you? That's a valid question.
You need a medical excuse.
Flex Wheeler in 1997, yeah. He showed up at the press conference. Did he have his arm in a sling or something?
A sling.
Yeah. I'm not going to comment further on that. That story is literally 30 years old at this point.
It is almost 30 years old, isn't it?
Oh, here we go. Mike went from 218 to 204.
Damn.
So you can imagine how many hours of cardio he must have been doing a day. He's probably eating enough to support like a 3-year-old.
Nothing.
Oof. Iblis. Oh, Iblis. That's the demon that Mike says lives inside of him. Iblis. I'm not making this up. I'm not that creative. Bro. Mike will do 12. Wesley Hyla. I think Wesley's done with that Classic. He says he's still in it, but I don't know.
Yeah, Mike's too tall for Mike's too tall for 212. I agree.
I mean, the way he looked. All right, so let's say this was him at 212 earlier in the season at the Arnold. How would this stack up against Keone, Clarita, Kareth Baggio, the top 212 guys?
I don't know, Ron. Like, it's pretty, but like you're dealing with some beasts. Like Keone's a beast, bro. Like you put that next to Keone, like that's not gonna look good. It'll look nice, but Keone's got a lot of dense muscle. So does Kareth. Though it's gonna take some time. Like that's not gonna beat. I don't feel the top 5. Well, maybe it's gonna be hard to beat top 5. 212 guys are freaks, bro. Look at that.
Yeah.
It's a different look.
I'd still like to see him up there just for the hell of it. Just like we want to see the best Classic guys on an open stage, the best 212 guys on open. I'd like to see Mike up against Byron, just like last year when C-Bum did it in Prague. You know, people.
Why do you think he didn't do a 212 show? What's the issue? Do you think?
Why won't who?
Why wouldn't Sommerfeld do a 212 show? What do you think?
Maybe he will. He might. I mean, I think he's still so solidified in this division, Classic. He's still doing so well. Probably doesn't see any reason to leave at this point. I mean, I think, he obviously dropped all that weight very quickly, and that was a shock to the system. He's still a pretty damn good. But moving forward, if he knows now that, okay, this is the weight I have to get down to, he's not going to let that happen again. He's not going to look as depleted because he's not going to have to go to such extremes like he did before. I assume that's what's going to happen. I mean, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Mike took 20 to 30 piss breaks at the weigh-in. I mean, that's diuretics. You guys we've all been there with the diuretics. It's like you might as well just stay in the bathroom for 8 hours because you're going to have to pee every 5 minutes.
Like a hose.
Yeah, I wish that guy deserved to won the show. Derek did not win. What? He did win, though. It's not about the fan favorites, unfortunately. It's what the judges. That's a whole other show. That's a whole other topic. But I mean,
I had Hardy winning, but as soon as I saw Derek that morning, I turned to my girlfriend and I'm like, Derek won.
Yeah, I mean, they all look fantastic. I thought all three of them. Even Samson still looked pretty good. I mean, Samson didn't look awful. I think he's getting so much crap because he didn't look anything like he did the year before. He was still pretty damn good.
It's still 4th in the world. People, I think people don't really think fourth at Mr. Olympia sucks, but it's the Mr. Olympia. Like, it's the fourth best bodybuilder in the world.
Yeah.
Like, somebody's got to place first, someone's got to place fourth. Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of good guys that place fourth place at the Mr. Olympia.
You can see it right there. Look at how much more pop Andrew has than Samson. He looks way bigger than Samson. He has more pop. His insertions are deeper. His cuts are deeper. I mean, look, more vascularity, more striations,
And so let's give the judges some credit, because in the old days, they never would have had the reigning Mr. Olympia drop down to fourth. They would have at least kept him in the top three. Probably would have even given him second, even if it had been this exact situation. That's just how it was. I think the judging now is 1,000 times more fair and impartial. It's a lot more objective than it was back in the. If you guys had been around 20, 30 years ago at the Olympia, you would have lost your minds.
Thank God there's no internet back. The internet would have broken back then with some of the judging results.
Derek deserved to win. He was dwarfing. Although I will say this, Flex Wheeler put up a picture of him on his Instagram page next to Derek. And I actually argue with Lorenzo Marinkovic from the old MD boards. Remember Lorenzo, Mike?
Yeah.
He was saying Derek's way better than Flex. He destroys Flex. I said, dude, no. He says, he's way bigger, height and weight. He's got better hamstring and glute detail. I'm like, dude, you really don't see the big picture here. Flex Wheeler would destroy. And I say that with all due respect. I know it sounds disrespectful, but Flex Wheeler at his best was far better than Derek Lunsford at his best.
In
my opinion.
In person, it was something like you had to see Flex in person to appreciate that kind of shit. It was just I sat there like this one time, just my mouth and all. I couldn't say anything because the roundness and the fullness that he had was just, it was unheard of. You just didn't see that kind of like those best muscle bellies ever.
Shout out to Xavier Willis there in Australia, where it is.
G'day, mate.
10 a.m. over in Queensland. I know that. I always know what time it is in Queensland. Nobody thought Martin beat Derek. Yeah, someone said Martin was clearly beating. No, Martin was not beating Derek at no point in time, guys.
Stop it.
Stop, people. Yeah, so there were several hundred comments. I'm not going to get to all you guys. We were busy talking about Samson, Keone, and Martin there for a while, so we didn't get to your comments about them. But appreciate you guys being on the chat like that. I think I'm going to call it, guys. We're gonna have an easy one this time. So, guys, follow Fakhri on his Instagram there. You still have a couple coaching spots available. I know you're one of those guys who can multitask.
I coach full time, man. I work like a lawyer, doctor, police officer. I wake up in the morning, I sit down to work, and that's it. That's my life.
And if you follow Fak on Instagram and see his posts, he is one of the most honest coaches. He will not sugarcoat things. He will tell you exactly how you look. He's not one of these people out there that blow sunshine up people's skirts or smoke up their ass like so many coaches. He keeps it real. He's old school. And if you want a coach that's going to bring you at your best and never just hold your hand and tell you look perfect when you don't, Fak is your guy. Big Mike Cox, keeping it real over there. And so you guys are in Florida, both of you?
Yeah. Mike, where you at?
I'm in just west of Tampa, Newport Richie.
I'm in Kissimmee, so we're like about an hour and a half.
Hour and a half, yeah.
Let me know if you want to come and train in Kissimmee Muscle.
Oh, yeah, for sure, dude. Oh, Kissimmee Muscle, yeah. It's a nice gym up there.
Yeah, hit me up.
Oh, for sure. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So Cleveland, Ohio. You're from New York City, Fak?
I'm born and raised in New York, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm Boston, but I'm not leaving, dude. I can take Florida in small doses, but I don't want to live there. You have cockroaches this big that can fly. Mike, you've seen alligators at your doorstep, right?
I've seen like a coyote like 2 miles away by kids' school.
Oh, a coyote's no big deal, but I got coyotes in my area. They're just dogs, basically. But alligators, that's like a giant carnivorous.
Yeah, we got gators. I saw a gator. Yeah, we saw a couple gators. I saw a gator and a shark. So yeah.
Every body of water in Florida has alligators. Even man-made lakes in the communities.
That's why I'm a dangerous driver in Florida, because wherever I am, if I see water on the side of the highway, I'm like, and I'm not even watching the road.
He wouldn't be able to go to the I-75, but there's gators when you drive right through.
Wow. Crossing the road. Anyway, I want to thank you guys both, Fakhri Mubarak, Big Mike Cox, masquerading as Tom Terwilliger this time, a great bodybuilder of the 80s and early 90s, I want to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great guy.
It's a history lesson every week here on the Meathead Podcast, thanks to Big Mike.
Yes,
so that's it, guys. I want to thank you all for watching the Meathead Podcast once again. We'll be back next week. We'll find out who won the show. We'll talk about that. And we also have Romania coming up, where Andrew Jacked is still competing. He's going to do that one too. So still some exciting shows coming up in this postseason after the Olympia. Good time. It's a great, great time in bodybuilding, guys. I'm excited about it again. I'm more excited now than I think I've been in about 5 or 10 years, honestly. So that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time.